Welcome on back, everybody, and welcome to a new NFL mock draft on the channel. My name is Absolute Illusion. You can also call me Colton, though, and today we're going to be doing something just a little bit different than our normal 3-round mock drafts that we've been doing. Obviously, those are still going up on the channel. I really want to power through those before we get to the actual NFL draft. We are going to be doing a full first-round mock draft for all the teams, the full first-round mock draft. I will not be doing any trades in this one, though, unfortunately. I'll save that for probably right before the actual NFL draft, if I do a one with trades at all. So we are only going to be going based off of where the teams are currently picking. We are dead center in the beginning of NFL free agency, and so far this week alone has been absolutely insanity with some of the crazy things that have been happening. Big signings have been going everywhere. The Patriots have been signing literally just everybody. The Jets have had some huge signings. The Jaguars have had some really big signings. They haven't made a ton of crazy moves, but they've had some really, really big ones. My team, the Vikings, has had some great signings so far. They've had some nice depth signings. I really, really like the Dalvin Thompson signing as well. There will obviously be more free agency signings up and coming and everything, so we won't have a true idea of everyone's needs until free agency gets a little farther in. But we've started weeding out some of the needs. Some of the needs of teams have definitely changed with a lot of the big signings that have been made. But we're going to do our best to see just what we think might happen in the first round of this mock draft. It's been a little while since I've done one of these, and it's my first time doing one by myself. So definitely, if you guys do enjoy this, make sure you guys please hit the like button. It would mean a lot to me. If you guys do enjoy this video as well, please subscribe. We're trying to hit 1K subs, and it would be absolutely awesome if we could do that. There's a lot of interesting stuff coming to the channel. You might also see a change to the channel coming up here pretty soon. I have some big kind of announcements I will be making coming up here pretty soon. Depending on when I upload this video, I might actually already be in San Antonio, Texas, because this next week I will be flying to San Antonio, Texas to visit my dad. As I'm recording this right now, it's Friday. So if I post this next week and big signings have already happened, I apologize that I don't know about them yet because they haven't happened. But we're going to hop right into this, though. We are going to be all of the teams. We are going to be doing a first-round mock draft. The draft speed does not matter because, obviously, we are picking for every single team. So let's obviously get started in this. And obviously, the first team picking up on the board is the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't really think I need to explain this at all. I don't need to explain where I'm going with this. I am just going to be taking Trevor Lawrence. That is exactly what is going to be happening. The New York Jets have made some crazy signings. If you wish me to go into Trevor Lawrence a little bit more, I can in another video. But Trevor Lawrence is about as guaranteed of a thing to go number 1 overall as you're going to see. Has all the tools, has all the physical ability to be a absolute star level quarterback. Second overall pick is the New York Jets, New Jersey Jets. I don't know what some people prefer me to say, but the Jets are up on the board at number 2. They do have a need at quarterback if you don't believe Sam Darnold is who they're going to stick with. In the last mock draft that I did with my buddy Steve, I did go a different route. Actually, no, I might have actually I might have actually given them a quarterback in that one. However, in the mock draft I did for the actual Jets, the 3-round mock draft, I did go a different route. I did end up trading back quite a ways with them. With this, though, with all of the moves that they've made, they've signed some solid wide receivers. They've signed a lot of just really great players. I could probably go into all of them. Let's see. I haven't been able to keep up on them necessarily as much as I would have liked to. Let's see here. No, that's not what I want. If I can find it at all, I'm not even sure if I know where it is. I had it on here. I had it pulled up for me. What the heck? Ah, here we are. Nope, that's also not it. Where the heck did you go? Here you are. Yes, this is it right here. At least of what I know of right now, this is all of the stuff that I am aware of. Where did you go? Yeah, they re-signed Josh Adams. They signed Keelan Cole, Corey Davis, which was a big signing for them. Tyler Kroft, Carl Lawson, which I believe... no, that is who they signed. Another Shaq Lawson, I believe, was in a trade. Gerard Davis, Marcus May received the franchise tag. Justin Hardy and LaMarcus Joyner. So a lot of really big signings in there. The Carl Lawson one is a huge one for them. 3-year, $45 million deal. 30 of it is guaranteed with a max value of 47.4. So that's really big. But it seems like what they're doing is they are building this team to be built around somebody a little different than Sam Darnold. So I am going to be going with Zach Wilson here, who is the second best quarterback in this draft class. After Zach Wilson, it gets a little bit iffy on who you believe is the third best. Zach Wilson has all of the tools to be a next level star in the NFL. He's got no issues playing under bright lights. He's very athletically gifted. He's not as polished as Trevor Lawrence is. No one in this draft class is. But Zach Wilson is somebody you can build your future around. So I think that's the route that they go here. Next up is the Miami Dolphins, though. The Miami Dolphins do need a wide receiver. Maybe not as much as they did before because they did sign Will Fuller. I don't know how much you believe him to be necessarily your number one wide receiver. I don't think he is. Him and Devontae Parker make very solid additions. I think that they are a prime candidate to trade back, however, because there is teams that need a quarterback. But we will not be doing any trades in this one, so we are going just solely based off of what they might need. They've done a pretty great job of kind of solidifying their offensive line. So offensive line could be an option here. I definitely don't think it's a very big need for them. Maybe interior. Edge rusher is a need. Edge rusher is probably a bigger need than it was before with all of their signings. It's probably a little higher up, which is why it's number 2 there. But there is no edge rusher. You're taking at number 3. So with that being said, you're kind of looking at Jamar Chase. You're looking at Devontae Smith. You're looking at Jalen Waddle. I think if you're looking at it here, yes, Jamar Chase is an absolute stud. Going off of what I think are the best wide receivers, though, I think you're looking at Jalen Waddle and you're looking at Devontae Smith. And I think if you're looking there, both of them are great options. Both of them played with Tua before. I think that you end up going Jalen Waddle here, though. I know I have Devontae Smith, number 1 wide receiver on my board. I think that they like Jalen Waddle a little bit more as a number 1 wide receiver for them. So I think that's the route you go here. Up on the board are the Falcons. I believe that they did just sign Matt Ryan to an extension of sorts. They kind of wiggled around his contract and everything like that, so I believe he'll be with them for sure for the next 2 years. So you're looking at it. Quarterback did slide down their board a little bit. I still think quarterback is a big need for them. Edge is a big need. Tight ends, a decent need. Linebackers, a pretty solid need. And you look at Micah Parsons as somebody they can maybe look to take here. I don't think you take Micah Parsons at number 4, though. I think that that's just kind of not your smartest option by any stretch of the imagination. I think if you're the Atlanta Falcons here, I don't think that you hesitate to take Trey Lance. Trey Lance is the type of quarterback who he could end up being better than Zach Wilson even in terms of overall ability-wise. You just don't know with the small sample size with him. You don't know exactly what you're getting from him. So it's a little bit different than with Zach Wilson, who you've got a bit more tape on and you've seen a bit more of him. Whereas Trey Lance is just a little bit more of an unknown to an extent, just because of that small sample size. But I think you take him here, you let him sit behind Matt Ryan for a year or 2, and you have your starting quarterback for the next decade. And I think Trey Lance, given a year or 2, could be a superstar at the next level. This is a weird draft class for quarterbacks because you have 4 quarterbacks who could all be superstars at the next level. All of which would be the number 1 quarterback of any other draft class. Even the 5th quarterback on the board, Mac Jones, in other draft classes would be the number 1 quarterback off the board if the other 4 weren't here. But that's just how this draft class is. It's just set up that way to be very, very top-heavy with quarterbacks. It's unbelievable the type of quarterback draft class that this is going to be. So I think they grabbed Trey Lance here. The Bengals, I don't think they think about this one too much. You need offensive line help. The unbelievable high ceiling type of an offensive tackle here is on the board in Penei Sewell. Or you could look at Rashawn Slater, who I believe is a better day 1 prospect. However, I think the enticing ability of Penei Sewell, a little bit too much for them to pass on. So you're going to grab Penei Sewell at 5. This one is a really, really interesting one. Wide receiver is a big need. Quarterback is a need, depending on how you feel about Jalen Hurts. Corner is a need here. Tight end is a need here. And that is actually the route that I'm going to go. I believe before the NFL draft, you will see Zach Ertz off of their team. And we all know how much Philly loves running 2 tight ends. And you have a next level freak of a tight end in Kyle Pitts sitting here on the board. I don't think you hesitate to take Kyle Pitts there. He fits into their scheme very, very well. He can play in the slot. He can play right off the edge as a tight end. I think him and Dallas Goedert would make a terrifying duo there. You got the Lions up here on the board. They are not going to be re-signing Kenny Golladay, so they are losing that ability there. So I think that really wide receiver is their number 1 option here. And Jamar Chase is on the board, so I think that is the route that they go. He does fit their scheme a little bit better than Devontae Smith does. I personally like Devontae Smith a bit more, but I think they do not hesitate to pass on Jamar Chase. Next up on the board, though, is the Carolina Panthers. This one is not even a question for me. This is Justin Fields. He fits, I think, exactly their mold perfectly. Give him another year to sit behind Teddy B, and you've got yourself a all-star in the making. He did just run the 40 recently, and it was blazing fast. At his pro day, he's talking about trying to get into the 4.3s for a 40 time. If he can pull that off, that will be the most absurd thing that I will have ever seen in my entire life. So I think Justin Fields is definitely the pick here. Next up is the Denver Broncos, though, and this I have said many times, and when I drafted for them, there was only one player on the board that I was looking at for them. Unfortunately, he did get picked by the Lions in the mock draft that I had, and that is Caleb Farley. Caleb Farley is the best corner in this draft class, followed very closely behind by Patrick Surtain, but Caleb Farley fits exactly the scheme of the Denver Broncos. He is the perfect plug-and-play corner for their scheme. Obviously, corners do struggle a little bit the next level, so you got to temper your expectations a little bit. But he's the perfect player for them to take here. Next up on the board, we do have the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Football Cowboys, as some people like to call them. The 2 biggest needs for them are definitely going to be offensive line here and cornerback. I think they did sign a couple of cornerbacks in the offseason. CJ Goodwin, who they signed to a 2-year deal, and Jordan Lewis, who they signed to a 3-year deal. I think he was a free agent before, and they just signed him, I believe, yes. And they did sign Dak Prescott to that monster deal, 4-year, $160 million with a max value of $164, $126 that is guaranteed. That's a lot of money. But it doesn't really look like they've done anything to solidify like a true number 1 corner. You had Trevon Diggs that they drafted last year. I don't believe he's your number 1 corner. He's a solid number 2. But so you're looking at either Rashawn Slater here, or you are looking at Patrick Surtain. And I think Patrick Surtain is exactly what they're looking for in a number 1 overall corner. So you're definitely going to take Patrick Surtain here. The New York Giants are up on the board, though. And if you're the Giants, you need a wide receiver if you don't sign Kenny Golladay. If they can sign Kenny Golladay, this pick changes dramatically. You could go edge rusher here. You could go corner here if you felt like it. You could go offensive line here. But I think wide receiver at this moment is their biggest need. And if, before you guys see this, they have signed Kenny Golladay, I apologize. This is not the player they will be taking if they take Kenny Golladay, but this is 100% going to be Devontae Smith if Kenny Golladay does not sign with them, and he does sign with the Bears, which a lot of people think he might do. But next up is the San Francisco 49ers. You could be looking at quarterback here and Mac Jones. You could be looking at interior offensive line. I don't think that they go that route, though. You could be looking at corner. You could be looking at offensive tackle, which I think is the route that they're going to go here. It all depends on what they do at the quarterback position. If they believe that Jimmy G is their option, if they trade for somebody, I don't know for sure what they're going to do. But I believe that you take Christian Darrisaw here. He is a stud. I think that he's a phenomenal offensive tackle. He's a plug-and-play left tackle. I think that he fits what they want a little bit more than Rashawn Slater does. Rashawn Slater plays all 5 positions. But I think San Francisco might shock a lot of people in taking Christian Darrisaw. Christian Darrisaw is a true next-level left tackle. He is a very, very zone run scheme type of an offensive lineman, which is exactly what they love to do. And with that, though, with the Chargers up on the board, their biggest need is the best player available, and that is Rashawn Slater. I almost accidentally took Micah Parsons for them right there, and that would have been very, very, very bad. But with Rashawn Slater being on the board, he is the most day one ready offensive tackle on the board. So if he falls to you at 13, you are jumping for joy. I think the Vikings would be a little upset if he went right before them there, because it is definitely a position of need for them. Now the Vikings are up on the board, though, with offensive line, interior offensive line and offensive tackle. So left guard and left tackle are positions of need. There is some talk, so they're trying to get Orlando Brown Jr. And Forrest Lamp, possibly. Either one of them. Forrest Lamp would slide into your left guard spot. And if you ended up getting Orlando Brown Jr., that is pretty much going to make or break what ends up happening with this pick here. I definitely think they go offensive line here, unless they trade back and grab an edge rusher. I don't know if there's an edge rusher that I would want them to take at 14. If they traded back and grabbed like Kwity Paye a few picks from now, or they ended up grabbing, if they traded way back into the first round and they ended up grabbing, oh my goodness, Gregory Rousseau, I would like that. Jalen Phillips would be great a little bit later in the draft as well. But I think at this spot here, you are probably looking at offensive tackle like Tevin Jenkins, which I don't really think is their best option in terms of overall. Linebacker could definitely be an option here because of the fact that Anthony Barr will be gone next year. When I mock draft for them, I did have them taking Micah Parsons. I still do very, very much believe in that pick. But I think if you're sitting here, and where is he? Okay, here he is. I think with the pick here, with them not trading back, I think that they're going to grab Elijah Vera Tucker. The best guard. He is at 100% a guard. He could play tackle in the NFL, but he is your immediate starting left guard, and then you can figure out what you're going to do with left tackle. If you decide that Ezra Cleveland is your left tackle of the future, you could play Elijah Vera Tucker right guard or left guard, and then roll with what you have from there if they end up getting Forrest Lamp. This could still be the pick that they go with, because then you've guaranteed your 2 interior offensive linemen. You slide Ezra Cleveland out to left tackle, and your entire offensive line is 100% set. I think somebody else that they could look for if they trade back, though, is Trevon Moehrig. If they trade back into the first round, they do need safety really, really, really badly. But next up is the Patriots on the board, and I think with all of the moves that they have made, the play that makes the most sense here is Mac Jones. They did just sign Cam Newton to a 1-year extension, or a 1-year deal. You draft Mac Jones, you have Cam Newton be your stopgap until next season. Mac Jones is your starter for the future. I don't think there's much questioning in that. Mac Jones would be very, very, very good running that scheme. Bill Belichick can make any quarterback look good, so I really don't think there's that big of a concern there. The Arizona Cardinals, though, are an interesting one. This is actually the next team that I'm going to be doing my 3-round mock draft on. That video will probably have come out before this video, though. But they need cornerback, running back, interior offensive line, tight end, linebacker. They could go a multitude of ways here. I think that once you're looking down the board, though, there's somebody on the board that I think that they would like a lot, and that is J.C. Horn. You could definitely go Greg Newsome. He has been flying up people's boards, including myself. He has been flying up my board as of recently. With how he did it at his pro day, it was unbelievable. He's done very, very, very well to make a name for himself and to be considered as the number 3 corner off the board. I think J.C. Horn is a little bit better than him, though, still. He hasn't done enough for me to put him above J.C. Horn. J.C. Horn's your starting corner. You're going to play him day one. I love that fit there. With the Raiders, though, I think this is a great place for Micah Parsons to go. His fall has been very, very, very far. I don't think he'll actually fall this far in the actual draft. But if he falls to the LA Raider or the Las Vegas Raiders, not LA Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders at 17, I think that they would be unbelievably happy to draft him at 17. Next up is the second pick for the Miami Dolphins. At this spot is where I think you look running back or edge rusher. And I think this is a perfect spot for an edge rusher. And I think that Kwity Paye is exactly the type of player that they would look for at 18. I think they would love to grab him here at 18. He is, in my personal opinion, the best edge rusher, like the best overall defensive end in the draft. Not necessarily the best edge rusher. I think you give best edge rusher to Jalen Phillips. But in terms of overall best defensive end, I think Kwity Paye is definitely number 1. They have Azeez Ojulari at that spot. I don't really see why. I definitely think that he is up there with Kwity Paye and Jalen Phillips in terms of probably the number 3 edge rusher in the entire draft class. But I would put Kwity Paye and Jalen Phillips ahead of him. It's what they can set this however they wish, though. Next up, though, is the Washington football team. They need offensive tackle. Wide receiver is a big need for them. Linebacker would be a need. Corner would be a need. But I think that with everything being said, they did just sign Ryan Fitzmagic or Fitzpatrick, however you wish to say it. I say Fitzmagic because his man's magical when he's on the field. He has a magical beard too. But you did just sign him, I think, to a 1 or 2 year deal. I think it might have just been a 1-year deal. But you could look at a quarterback here, but there's no quarterback left on the board that I think you consider taking this spot. If Mac Jones was still here, I think that is 100% their pick. But I think you look down here on the board just a little bit, and you are going to grab Rashad Bateman to go opposite scary Terry McLaurin. Give yourself that next level wide receiver number 2. And they have an unbelievable skill position. They've got a very, very solid tight end. Terry McLaurin is a stud wide receiver 1. Rashad Bateman would be an amazing wide receiver 2. You've got a absolute starting caliber young running back. So I think that they have a lot of things to look forward to. Their defense is a monster. So I think that is a great pick for them there. Next up, though, is the Chicago Bears, who are in a bit of a dumpster fire at the moment. They're just releasing everybody, cutting everybody. I have no idea what they're doing. This is probably very, very different based on all of the stuff that's been happening. I don't know when this was last updated. I don't think quarterback's the number 1 need. They did just sign Andy Dalton. They definitely could look for quarterback for the future, but I think Andy Dalton will be at least their quarterback for right now. I think a very, very good option for them, though, and this is who I will draft for them, and that is Tevin Jenkins. I do like Tevin Jenkins to them. 6'6", 315. Definitely offensive tackle. Could play offensive guard to start in the NFL, but will be a very, very solid future offensive tackle for whatever team ends up grabbing him. Next up, you have the Indianapolis Colts. They need offensive tackle. They need corner. They need wide receiver. And I think you're going to see a bit of a run on offensive tackles here with them grabbing Samuel Cosmi. Samuel Cosmi, 6'7", 300 pounds. A bit more of a right tackle in the NFL. I don't remember who their right tackle is right now. I'd have to double check that. But I think that you definitely see a run on offensive linemen going here in the middle of the draft. Tevin Jenkins going off the board, Samuel Cosby going off the board. They're both very, very solid players, and they can definitely be day 1 starters in the NFL. The Titans are in kind of an interesting spot. I could see them actually grabbing Trevon Moehrig here, but I could also see them going a different route and possibly going with Greg Newsome here. They do need cornerback help. That is a big need for them. But I think actually if they're looking at it, again, this is where I said that a run of offensive linemen, and they are going to grab Jalen Mayfield right here. 6'5", 319. He could play right or left tackle. I also see him a bit more as a right tackle in the NFL, kind of like Samuel Cosme. But again, this is exactly where you'll see that run on offensive linemen go off the board. And this right here is where I see the Jets going with an edge rusher. And this is where I see them grabbing Jalen Phillips. Jalen Phillips is the best pure edge rusher in this entire draft class. Day one ready starter at the edge position. Will 100% get after the quarterback. Might not do as much for you in the run as he will rushing the passer. Unbelievable player off that edge, though. 6'5", 258. Absolute behemoth. He could maybe play outside linebacker if you wanted to stick him there, but he's definitely more of an edge rusher, flying off that edge. Right here, though, this is where you're kind of looking at running back here, I think, if you're the Steelers. And with that, you'd be looking at Najee Harris, 6'2", 230, 100% just a starting level running back. And you've got Najee Harris. Wait a minute. No. Najee Harris and Travis Etienne. I forgot which one I said first. Oh my gosh. I'm losing it, you guys. I apologize if I just got off of work a little bit ago. Travis Etienne, 5'10", 210 pounds. Dude's just dude just blows up plays. They both have big playability. I think if you're looking at him, though, I think Najee Harris, I think that they would like a little bit more. I think Najee Harris is a little bit better than Travis Etienne. That's just my personal preference. He can... Najee Harris is a bit more of a 3-down back. And I don't think a lot of people give him enough credit for being as good of a out of the backfield receiver as he really is. Whereas Travis Etienne, his burst and contact make him a big play back that is capable of taking it the distance in any part of the field. He can literally take it to the house from literally anywhere. But I think if you're looking for that 3-down back, Najee Harris, I believe, is a little bit better and more what you are looking for, which I think is what the Steelers would be looking for in a running back. So I think Najee Harris is definitely the play there. I normally don't take running backs in the first round, but it's a big, big need for them and is a big, big player for them. Jacksonville Jaguars are up on with their second overall first-round pick, though. Offensive tackle, wide receiver, tight end, defensive lineman. You can be looking at all of those. But I definitely think that they're going to go... they've made some interesting signings this year. I've really, really liked what they have done. Man, they signed a lot more people than I thought they did. Holy bananas. Jamal Agnew, Philip Dorsett, Marvin Jones. My goodness. They did sign Shaquille Griffin, who was somebody that was somebody the Vikings were looking at. They did franchise tag Cam Robinson, which I was a little surprised by that they franchise tagged him. That was a little strange for me. I don't think that they have... I definitely think wide receiver is a need here. I don't think it's as big of a need as maybe some other people might believe that it is, though. So you're kind of just looking at the best player available on the board for them at the moment in terms of overall need. And I actually really, really like Christian Barmore right here to them. The best interior defensive lineman off of the board. Going to be able to rush the passer, can get down and dirty in the run. He is easily the best interior defensive lineman in this draft class. And yes, I know they have more pressing needs, so to speak. But I think that 100% he is going to be a phenomenal player for them. Yes, I know that they did sign Malcolm Brown and Roy Robertson, which that was a big contract for them, 3 years, $24.4 million. They did get Malcolm Brown in that trade, but I really, really like Christian Barmore to them. He's just it's a little bit of best player available at a position of need. And I don't think wide receiver is as big of a need as some people might think it is for them. They have a lot of really, really good wide receivers. This is an interesting spot here for the Browns, though. I could see them going Christian Barmore, but as long as they don't trade for Danielle Hunter from the Vikings, which I'd be very, very upset. I think Azeez Ojulari is a great player for them here. Definitely 4-3 off the ball linebacker, stand-up kind of a guy. Great edge rushing ability. Very, very athletic overall as a player. So I like him there. This is 100% where I see my boy Trevon Moehrig going. They need a safety. They're grabbing the best safety in the draft class. I don't think I need to explain that a whole lot in terms of why I think he's going to go there. The Saints are in a weird spot. Drew Brees did just retire. 100% a future Hall of Famer. Unbelievable career that man had. But I think that this is a very, very nice spot for Greg Newsome to go. I like Greg Newsome a lot. Gives them phenomenal flexibility at the cornerback position. They have very, very little cap space. So I actually maybe could see them trading out of this pick entirely. Trying to save a little bit of cap and then grab the best player available in the second round. But I do like Greg Newsome overall. He is 100% deserving of a first-round pick. So, calling Greg Newsome there. Green Bay Packers are up on the board. Offensive tackle, wide receiver, corner. I think that this is a phenomenal place for somebody like Kadarius Toney to go. Kadarius Toney, I think, is actually better than Terrace Marshall Jr. It's nothing against Terrace Marshall Jr. I just like Kadarius Toney a bit more overall as a wide receiver. 5'11", 189. Starting wide receiver. You've got three solid wide receivers. You have Devontae Adams, arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL, with D-Hop as probably the other one. You've got Allen Lazard, who I love. I love Allen Lazard. I think that he is definitely a number 2 or a number 3 wide receiver. And then you have Kadarius Toney to step in and give Aaron Rodgers another unbelievable weapon on the outside. Can play in the slot immediately. So I think that that's probably where he would end up playing. The Bills are in a fun spot. I like what the Bills have done. They've kind of quietly had a unbelievable free agency. They did sign Mitchell Trubisky, which was really weird. They also signed Tywan Jones, Emmanuel Sanders, Jacob Hollister, Darrell Williams, John Feliciano, Matt Milano, who they re-signed, Levi Wallace, and Matt Hack, the punter, because they got rid of their other punter because he wanted too many things. Darrell Williams was a really, really great signing for them. 3-year, $28 million deal for them. Matt Milano, bringing him back, was unbelievable. Emmanuel Sanders wasn't a bad pickup for them. It maybe brings wide receiver a little bit farther down on their board. I think edge rusher is still a big, big need for them. Running back could still be a big need for them if one of the top running backs like Travis Etienne was still on the board, which he is. So I definitely think that that is route they could go. I don't think that they go corner. There isn't a corner I think that they want to draft in the first round. So I think if you're looking here, you're probably looking at edge rusher or running back. You're definitely not looking at wide receiver at this pick, I don't believe. So you're really looking at Greg Rousseau, or you're looking at Travis Etienne. And I am actually going to take Travis Etienne for them. I don't know what a lot of people are going to think about that. I don't know what my buddy Steve's going to think about that. I think if Travis Etienne falls to them, though, I think that they will jump to take him. They do need that really stud level running back. I know they took one last year. I know they took a running back last year in the draft. Zach Moss, I believe. I think they took him in the second or third round. But they don't really have that true number 1 running back. Edge rusher is a big need for them, but I think that they can get a very, very solid one in the second or third round. So Travis Etienne is going to be the route we go there. Next up, though, is the Kansas City Chiefs, who've made some really, really good moves in this offseason. They've made a lot of very, very good signs, like Joe Thuney. Joe Thuney was probably their biggest one. Mike Reimers, they re-signed him. Kyle Long, they brought back out of retirement somehow. No idea how they swung that. Taco Carlton re-signed for a 1-year deal. I think offensive lineman is a big, big need for them. However, I think if somebody like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah were to fall to them at 31, he is 100% the type of player that they would want to take. With the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, though, they've kind of weirdly had probably one of the best off seasons so far. They haven't lost anybody. And that's important. They are the defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. and they have stayed the defending Super Bowl champion Buccaneers, which is a big deal. It kind of gives them flexibility to do whatever they feel like here with this pick. And I think the rich just get richer a little bit. And I think this is where you take that chance on that flyer on Greg Rousseau. Has the ability to be the number 1 edge rusher coming out of this draft class. Will not be the greatest starting right off in the beginning, though. But has the ability to be an absolute game changer at the next level with his athletic profile. But with that, that is our full first round 2021 NFL mock draft. Definitely let me know what you guys think down in the comments, though. What you guys think of all of my picks. If you guys think I'm completely insane. If you guys like some of the picks, definitely let me know. Make sure you guys hit the like button if you guys did enjoy the video. Subscribe to the channel as well if you guys want to watch more of the fun content that I have on the channel. Follow me on Twitter as well. Down in the description at Absolute Colton for all the updates on everything on my channel. And with that, thank you guys again all so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace out, everybody.